Okay, so I'm screen recording now. We're making we made a new project. We named the project Image Tracking. And this needs to be, I believe it needs to be in an editor of 2019.2.7 or higher. If you have lower than that, just go ahead and follow along with me now while your other version downloads, and then you can just port it into the new version later. And so go ahead and set up the thing for AR. So you go into build settings and iOS, switch platform, or Android if you're using Android. And then go into player settings. And this is the iOS settings here, and you need to have, I believe, put in a company name. Because the signing certificates expire every 7 days, I've just been naming my company week 7 and week 8 and week 9. That way it creates a new signing certificate every week. Image tracking, and let's see, week 7. Yeah, that's right. Now I believe I need to say it requires ARKit support, and then I have to change this to 11, and then down here I have to say ARM64. Universal ARM64. I think that's all you need for that. For Android, you need to get rid of Vulkan API. You need to turn off multi-threaded rendering. You need to change the minimum API level to 7. And I think that's it on that. Okay, so once you have that, then we go into Package Manager. So go to Window, Package Manager, and now click on this arrow next to Advanced and go to Show Preview Packages. Okay, now type in AR in your search, and you want to install ARKit or AR Foundation, see all versions, Preview 4 3.0.0. Do you guys have that? Oh, you have that. Maybe you don't need, maybe it'll work without updating. You should still update. But select Preview 4 3.0.0. What's wrong? So click install.
It's like not. It's just like, oh, it's capitalized in
Okay, so that gives me Preview 4 AR Foundation, Preview 4 AR Subsystems. And then if you're going to use, and then you'll need to install Preview 4 on ARKit or Preview 4 on AR Core if you're using Android. So there were a lot of problems with the image recognition, and the more recent ones have fixed those problems. So that's why we're having to use these preview versions. What? Because your thing is probably too old. What is the highest one that it has?
I have this, but is that update to 3.0?
Is it Preview 4.4? Preview.
I don't have the button.
Did you click on Show in Advanced Show Preview Packages?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it won't let you.
Yeah, I think you have to wait.
Okay, so then yeah, that's probably because you have to update your. You have to update your Unity is the reason why, I'm pretty sure. So you can't install the AR. You can't install this preview 4, right? It's grayed out on all of yours.
I think it says updating.
Oh, it's updating it right now.
I think it's like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it must be because of the installer is messing with the package stuff. It's not letting it in your other project.
So you didn't go to advanced and say show preview packages. Oh, it should be there. Click on AR Foundation. Click on the drop down. Click on see all versions.
Okay, cool. So it's just preview.
Yeah, preview.4. Try to install that.
It won't let me but I can just
What is it? Just wait.
It's probably it might be
There,
because
click
it's
on
installing.
install. There you go.
So updating the AR foundation.
No, you're installing a new. Yes, I mean every time you create a new project, you're installing AR Foundation from the internet.
But which one are we updating to
Preview 4.
But which one are we doing? Like AR foundation or
AR Foundation and AR Kit. You need AR Foundation, AR Subsystems, and AR Kit. If you're doing iOS, you need all 3 of those.
So we're updating to preview.
Preview.4, yeah. 3.0.0. Okay, so also AR Kit. Preview.4. You're not with me, Camilo? Come on.
Oh yeah, hello.
All right, so we're making a new thing called image tracking. Okay, so I'm almost done. All right, I'm done. So now you have that. We can get rid of your main camera. Delete. You can add a XR AR session, XR AR session origin. Tag the camera in AR session origin as main camera. Okay. You're still in the package manager? Is it still installing or what's going on?
Yeah, it's still updating to preview.
Okay, I'm going to change my gizmo size down to nothing so I don't see those icons. So you'll notice that there's like this frustum here, and that's part of this new preview. Is it's kind of showing, it's displaying the camera frustum. You got it? Okay, great. So as soon as I'll give you guys another second. Which week is this?
Second.
Yeah. And notes. AR, XR, yes. Okay. So once you have that, then let's go ahead and download this package from the class website under week 7. There's this image tracking Unity package. Let's go ahead and download that. And then once that's downloaded, go back into Unity and say assets, import package, custom package. This is how I'm going to share stuff from now on. It's way better than trying to drag a bunch of files in. And then go to wherever you downloaded it. It's probably in your downloads folder. And find that Unity package and click open. And then it's going to install all of this stuff in one package. And go ahead and say OK. And it should add a bunch of folders for you. It should add some prefabs and some images and some materials. Yeah? Shar, how you doing? Have you downloaded that package yet? Okay. I'm going to pass out some reference images for tracking. Yeah, today's class will feature a little bit of agitation propaganda, so I hope that doesn't offend anybody. But it seemed like it was a good time for it.
Where is the asset that I have to download? I am the 6 site.
So yeah, on the class website, week 7, download the Unity package, and then once it's downloaded, go back into Unity and go to Assets, Import Package, and select where you downloaded it from. Okay, so we're going to do, let's see. We have that, we have that, we did that, we did that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, for image tracking, is to create a reference image library. So go ahead and, I would say let's do this inside of images. So open your images directory, right click on, not on any object, just in the space here, and say create XR reference image library. It's really easy to click reference object library. That's for 3D objects. We're not going to do that. So we need to make sure you click reference image library. Right click on the canvas here inside your images directory and go down to create, go up to create, then down at the bottom XR reference image library. Okay? Now you have this little icon here. If you click on this over here, you see an add image. Click on that, and then you'll have this little none texture 2D. Click select, and select Apollo 50. And then click add image, select Trump point shout. Okay? If we want to specify size, which has to do with the way it scales things to real world values, we can. I went ahead and wrote down the size in meters of these the physical sizes of these on the picture there. So it's 0.0762, and it should automatic. Whoops, 0.0762, and it should automatically fill in the other one because it does it based on the aspect ratio of the image. And then on this one here, on the Trump, specify size and 0.1298. Okay? Keep texture is, it keeps this texture available in case you wanted to use it for something. We're not going to necessarily use it, but like if you wanted to have that texture available to like put on a quad that overlays the image, so like if it detects the image, it places a virtual image on top of it, then that texture would be available for that. I'm not planning to do that in this example, but you could. Okay, so now in your AR session origin, create a add component and click on click on ARTracked Image Manager. Oh, go ahead and start searching AR, and there should be something here called ARTracked Image Manager. Or you can start typing tracked is another way of finding it. Okay, and add that to the components of your AR session origin.
I'm so sorry. Could you just say that again?
Add component, type in AR, then find in the list, scroll down and find ARTracked Image Manager. Okay, so this needs a couple things to work, and it's really easy. This is like you don't have to do any C# scripting if you're only going to spawn one object based on images. You just need this reference image library. So go ahead here on serialized library. You can either drag this reference image library over there, or the even easier way is just click the target little icon here. Click on that, and that brings up this menu, and then click the reference image library out of that. Change the max number of moving images. That means how many images it can target at the same time, from 0 to either 1 or 2. Let's go ahead and say 2 because we have 2 images in our library. And then all you need to do is drag a prefab in there, and whenever it sees an image, it recognizes it will place that prefab. So let's go ahead and drag the Apollo. Actually, no, let's just use the test cube. Drag the test cube onto that tracked image prefab. Or you can just hit the target actually and go to click on assets and click on test cube. All right. And that should work if you wanted to build. Let's go ahead and build. So file, build settings. We already set up our player settings. So go ahead and click build. Create a new directory called, new folder, called builds. And save this as iOS or Android if you're doing it on an Android device. And click save. You can also track images on your computer screen. That's an easy way to do it while you're developing things. It's nicer to have it on a flat surface though, I find, because whenever you do it on your computer screen, it's coming straight at you, the object. See, converting assemblies to C++, that's what I was talking about. That's the language it actually runs in. All right, so once that's built, go ahead and open your Xcode project. It reminds me of, I wish I had my own stereo in here, and we could have like a sound war.
It's like glass layer.
Yeah. I remember there was this neighbor I had a while back, and he would play this annoying music really loud with the door open when he was like cleaning and stuff. And I was like, is this a competition? Because I guarantee I'll win. I'm the sound designer. And I have a big stereo system. And so I put on Skrillex and just like pump the volume. All right.
Sounds testing.
Then, yeah, that's why you should make sure you have a new bundle, use a different bundle identifier that you haven't used before, and different one than I've used. And Camilla's done first because Android builds way faster than iOS.
And I have everything installed because I was playing
Right.
all week with this.
I just changed it and
You have to do it. I think you have to do it in Unity and build again. Like I think if you change it in Xcode, it's not going to work.
when I click build, it tells me to save as. Can you get that?
No. Wait. In what? In Unity? Do you already have?
Replace the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like.
You should replace.
Yeah, that means you already have a build with that.
But I changed the timeline.
It's still the file, the same file name that you have already. You have a build because you need to build. That's why you should create a directory inside of your project directory for the current project that you're working on. That way you'll never have that problem. You'll just overwrite any previous builds that you've done for that project. You shouldn't be having conflicts between builds for other projects. So there we go. It works. Here, let me show you guys what I've got. New movie recording. I'm so glad this thing came back to life.
Oh,
This stopped working and I had to use this stupid 5K player and it wasn't working very well. All right, so is it image tracking? Yeah. So there we go. It sees that and it places a cube on it. I believe if I can get it to pop up on the Donald Trump too. And now I have one cube on each object. And see when I move the paper,
Oh, that's so cool.
it should move with it. Now you can, once you get that working, you can see how much you can just deform the page before it stops being able to track it. And it's not a lot. It really wants to be on a flat, non-deformable surface because it is two-dimensional tracking.
Oh, I got this one too. Click it off.
Elon Musk tweeted, but actually, there he is. Oh, good. You get it. You can block out the president. I don't want to see your stupid face anymore.
finally.
I don't know, this doesn't have anything to do with the class, but I just want to learn my friends who brush fire broke out in San Diego. He's so well aware.
Great, man. They should have shut the power down. They said they were going to.
But like so many people died.
Well, I hope it's not as bad as the campfire. Gosh, that was
Sorry,
really bad.
I don't mean to depress everyone, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I hope we can get home without having to wait an hour. All right, so that's the easy way of doing it. Okay, let's add this script that I wrote, which, well, I didn't completely write it. I edited somebody else's tutorial script. So go into your AR session and add, go to your scripts folder, and there's this image recognition script. Drag that into your AR session origin object. And then here, open the What's wrong with yours, Shar? Okay, so click on the drop down. So we've dragged this image recognition script into the AR session origin, and now you have this script here listed, and you have AR objects to place. Go ahead and open that up, change the size from 0 to 2. Okay, and go to your prefabs and drag Apollo into element 0 and Trump into element 1. And the only thing to be real, we'll look at this script in a minute, but if you're going to use this as your own script, the one thing just to know is that your prefab name needs to match the name. Oh, let's fix this. The prefab name has to match the name that you have in the reference image library. So go ahead and change where it says Apollo 50, change that to Apollo. And Trump point shout, change that to Trump in your reference image library. So Shar, what did you miss? Did you put the script in there?
Not yet. Sorry, I was trying to just waiting for the script right there.
So this in your scripts directory, the image recognition, drag that onto your AR session origin.
Oh, are you talking about the open version?
Oh, that's probably what it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then, okay, so once you've done that, then you'll see this image recognition script, but it will look like this. Yeah, go ahead and click the drop down for that and change it from 0 to 2. Then drag Apollo into the first one and Trump into the second one. And then you need to go back into your images, reference image, and change the name of these to be Apollo and Trump instead of Apollo 50 and Trump point shout. You should have they came with the package that you imported. They're in your prefabs directory in the package that you imported. It's not empty. It's a surprise. So what?
So it's Apollo and Trump.
Yes, you put Apollo in the first one, Trump in the second one, and then you need to go back into your reference image library and change the names of each of those. Instead of being Apollo 50, change it just to Apollo. And instead of being Trump point shout, change it to just Trump with a capital T and a capital A. All right? Then go ahead and build again. Yeah, and I'll show you what it looks like.
Yeah, I can't build, like, if I click build from that menu, it just, like, doesn't really work. Well, it's too, well, I have to put 9 on.
That should work.
But
So what's it doing?
the way it works is if I click file building. If I do build from that menu, I have to save it and replace, and then, like,
Well, you could just delete it. Delete your previous build, I guess, and then click build.
I don't have an app.
You don't have what app? Oh,
I don't have a it didn't successfully build.
okay. So you have something. I mean, we haven't done any coding. You're just.
Said, it wasn't recognizing the sign.
Then yeah, you have a problem with your signing certificate.
It's a signing certificate.
So you might need to go into your accounts and make sure that you have your account logged in correctly. In Xcode. So in Xcode, go to File. What is it? Profiles or what is it? There's something in here where you can put in your profiles. I can't remember what it was called. And it's in my week 1 notes. Let me see. All right, let me start this building first, just a second. All right, signing. Team Jackson. So when you go to signing and you click on team, what do you have a personal team there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so then you have your profile in there. So that's not the problem.
Well, it is no profile with that. So it is some profile.
Yeah, it's definitely something wrong with your Xcode and something wrong with your Xcode and either the account that you have or what you're using for a bundle identifier.
We could do that.
So what do you have on your bundle identifier?
If you didn't change it, it might be.
It's using an expired identifier.
Yeah. That would be.
That's why I said you need to change the company to like week 7 or something.
I changed the
Okay, so what does your bundle identifier say in Xcode?
com.bx.
What is BX new? Have you used that one before?
I don't know, but I tried week 7 before.
And it's not showing up in your bundle identifier. So you need to go in to make sure that in your player settings that it's actually putting that on the list. Or putting that in the player settings. All right, so once you have this running, you should see that you get a rocket ship on the Apollo logo, and it's pretty big. I could probably stand to scale this down a little bit. And if you look at Trump, oh no, he still has, he has a cube that, so this looks different than what I had before. And all the lies are backwards. All right, I have to fix something here. In my prefabs, my Trump, this should have been this cube. It is turned off. Why the heck am I seeing a cube? I shouldn't see a cube. Oh, I know what's wrong. I'm seeing a cube because I didn't get rid of the cube, the test cube. So back in your settings, you need to get rid of the test cube on the image recognition. Yeah, make it none object. So back in scenes, AR session origin, here where it says tracked image prefab, click on the target and click none so that it doesn't place anything. And then build again. Darn it. Build settings, build and run. All right, while this is building, I can take a look at Vanya's issue. Replace.
I just changed the bundle identifier. It doesn't mean that I just don't have a unit in.
Okay, so now it's working. Yeah.
But the bundle identifier is different from because in Unity I have week 7,
All right.
and then I just deleted the 7 and now it's a week, and put everything there. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna build to the same.
I don't know. I've never done it this way before. I've never tried to change the bundle identifier in Xcode.
But
Go into your player settings in Unity while you're at it. Build failed.
So it says build successful here.
Failed to register bundle identifier. No profiles for COM week 7 image tracking were found. So go into Unity and go into your build settings. Go into your player settings. Okay. Change your company name to something new. And something, don't call it week 7 either. Just call it anything. Call it image tracking or something. I don't know. Okay? Now, go scroll down. Click out of that field. Click down to a different field. Right? Scroll down. Now, see how it didn't change it? You need to make sure it's changed it there. So go ahead and just manually change that to where. Yeah. Okay? Now build. Sometimes that doesn't populate. It populates the first time if you did it right, but if you have it wrong and then you change it, sometimes it doesn't want to populate.
Does it always save, like when you click build, does it always save as a scene inside your original folder?
What?
Like when you click build?
When you click build, I usually make my own folder called builds, and I put it in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
It lose one when
Yeah, it only will track one at a time, this script.
ah,
Is the default?
but I don't want to go for the again.
Because what, Vania?
The default save location when you click build is inside the Unity project folder.
Yeah, it should be. But I usually put it in its own folder. That way you'll have a builds folder.
Okay. I'm just curious if that was
And one time the object is instantiated when you want to stop.
Yeah, you have to have it release the image by not seeing that image anymore. So if you see both at the same time. Yeah, I know. That's fine. But show it a new image and it should go away. No? Oh, right. I forgot. Yes. No, there's a problem. There's still this doesn't work great with Android still. It still works, but it'll only work once. So you just got to kill your app and launch it again and look at the other image.
So that is the reason my thing was never working.
Yeah.
Actually now
So if you kill your app and launch it again and look at the other image, it'll work. But it'll only work on one of those images one time.
so
There we go. This is looking right now.
I have a
All right, so
and it's not deployed.
no,
It's,
did it
doing the audio,
uh-huh.
no the video, and this time it's not alpha channel. So it's not that
Okay, so when this is working correctly, you should be able to look at the Apollo and it will launch this rocket. And if you look at Trump,
Oh, yeah, he's scouting lines. Cool.
Really?
Is it a particle?
yeah, it's a particle system.
That's fun.
So we'll look at the asset here in a second. I made the lies in Blender. There's no really good object inside Unity for making three-dimensional text. You can use Text Mesh Pro, but it will make a flat text and position that flat text in 3D space. But if you actually want it to be volumetric, you got to use a different program like Maya or Blender or Cinema 4D or something like that.
How do you make that export? That is something I was trying to do.
In what?
To export from Cinema 4D to
I don't know Cinema 4D, unfortunately. I use Blender. Yeah, and there are lots of tutorials on how to do 3D text on Blender. I wouldn't have time to go over it today,
so
but
Blender is a good option to.
it's a free object, a free app, and it's pretty good. So it actually tracks these in 3 dimensions, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so you can also have the image this way, and then the lies will come right at you. All right, so let's take a look at these assets. Oh, that's because you got to take the cube off of your image.
I don't have anything.
What happened? Yours doesn't work at all? Did you put the prefabs in your... Go back into your Unity and go into your AR session. You got that. Oh, and you have size 2. That's right.
Successful. And
Tracked image. That looks right. What's in your reference image library? Did you rename them? Apollo and Trump. Yeah, you did. That should work. You sure you didn't? You built it? Since you changed the
Yeah, deleted everything.
try deleting it and rebuild it again. Maybe it's not from a previous installation. It's not working or something.
It could be that you might have another app.
So she's still having bundle identifier
Yeah,
issues.
it's saying it couldn't. The build works, but it can't find the app on the phone.
Like, I don't. Well, the bundle identifier is fine now, but like the app isn't installed already.
Okay.
I can't open it.
Did you try deleting the app?
Yeah, it hasn't put an app on your phone yet, right? So
This happened before, and I had to delete like my Apple development profile, so I had to delete like all my previous apps, and then. I don't think
I'm not sure. Okay, so anyway, I don't know what's going on with that. That's a bigger issue than I probably have time to go over right now. You have something wrong with your Xcode and your profile. What do you got? Is it working?
No, there's a spike comes from here.
A what?
A spike.
You already
A spike.
Well,
I didn't see it. I'll go over.
You can track the buffering and project. But the problem is not with Unity, it's with Xcode specifically. So it's likely not.
Yeah, I don't think it's working.
I think that's Xcode updates
I mean, I'm wondering if the reason why yours isn't working is because of the. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
So something is weird with
The
yours.
position.
The position is off,
Yeah.
and it seems to be coming. See, I had this problem before, where it seemed that the particle emitter was coming from the camera instead of on an object. And so that's why it seemed to fix it when I put it as a child of an object, which is why if on this Trump here, if you look at the prefab, there is a cube that I've turned off the mesh renderer, and the lie particles are a child of that cube. And if you click on the lie particles, then it will preview those lie particles.
No, but you say cube, no, avoid object.
Yeah, I tried to have it as just a empty game object, and it wasn't. It kept getting stuck on the camera.
That is what I'm trying to do with the video all the time. I like to.
Yeah, but I think
So,
right, and that usually works. I think the only issue here, and this still has an empty object as like the overall parent object called Trump is an empty object. It's just the only problem I was having was with this particle emitter. It wouldn't work unless I had it. It would work, but it would be attached to the camera for some reason, unless I had it as a child of an actual game object that I just turned off the mesh renderer for.
You said by adding a cube and turning off the renderer?
Yeah, so there's an invisible cube here that isn't being shown. So if I turn this mesh renderer on, you can see there's a cube there.
Oh, okay.
And I just turned off the mesh renderer.
Is
And
it
the light
because
particles
cube
come
is
from
too
that.
big? That's why it doesn't come.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out why the lie particles were coming from the camera like yours are. And you have the same prefabs that I have, so yours should work like mine works. I'm wondering if it's not a...
I think it's the orientation.
Uh-huh.
Like that this comes from the bottom of the cube.
Mhm.
Now the cube is like turned this way. So it
Okay,
comes from-
so check your cubes, see if you have any rotation in your prefab. I don't think you do. But see how this lie particles has a rotation of -90 on the x axis? Make sure that that's there. All right. So if you guys are interested in particle systems, I can give you the quick rundown on how this works. So you can add a particle system to any object you want. So like say I'm on this test cube, for example. And say I wanted to have particles coming from this test cube. I could hit add component and say particle system. And then it will, by default, it will spill those particles out horizontally. And it only shows particles when you have the particle generator, or when you have the object with the particle component highlighted in your hierarchy. Otherwise, it will stop the animation for this. When you actually hit play, they'll continue on forever. But when you're in your editor, the only way you preview them is if you have that highlighted. Okay, so then you can rotate this by 90 degrees on the x-axis. No, now it's coming the other way. Oh, let me see. What am I doing wrong here? Y. Rotate on, it's this way. Yeah, I want to rotate it on the x-axis. Okay, there we go. Is my camera upside down? Maybe my camera's upside down. Oh, negative 90 degrees, not 90 degrees. That's what's wrong. There we go. Now it's going up. So this is a particle system. By default, it's just going to give you these untextured pink boxes. If you want to add a texture to it, you can, in here under renderer, you can change the render mode from billboard to mesh, and then select a mesh of some sort. So you can click on the little target here, and I can say I want a bunch of spheres to come out. And now they're spheres. Or I can say I want a bunch of capsules to come out. Or I can make this any one of these SketchUp things. Default is the lies. Or I can do pieces of rocket. These are all like pieces of that rocket, all these ID whatever, because I imported it from SketchUp. So you're like, that's cool, but I have these capsules and they all look kind of the same and they still look pink. Well, that's just because you need to give them a material. So see where it says material none? So I can create a material and give it a color and stuff, or I could just select one that I have already, like the default diffuse or a default particle, or I should have that lime material. There we go, which is kind of a gold material. And so now they have a material, these particles. But you'll notice they're very sprite-like, like they're always facing the camera and they're not rotating around or anything. See how they're always in the same orientation no matter where the camera is? So there's something in here called render alignment. You can say that, having a world render alignment. Now I can look at them in different views, and they will keep their view, and they won't always be facing the camera. Now you're like, yeah, but they're all pointing up all the time. Well, that's you can add a randomized rotation to them. There's a thing called rotation over lifetime, and you can turn that on, and now they'll just rotate in all different directions. Okay. There's one other thing you can do. See how when I move this particle system, all the particles move? They don't, like a smoke, if something was spitting out things and you moved that emitter, these things that had already spit out should still be in the same place, right? You can change that as well. I believe that is called, what is it called? There's something in here where you can change the world space. Here it is. Scaling mode. Is that it? No, simulation space. Change this from local to world. And now I can make trails of things, right? So that's quick and dirty how to do particle systems, and you can attach any kind of mesh you want onto these particle systems, or you can just have them be textured particles. You can make fire effects with this. You can make smoke effects with this. They're not great, but they're cool. Or you can have lies come out of Trump's mouth. So that's that. What time is it? It is 3:33, which is enough time to talk about the script and to show you another script. Wait, cancel. I don't want to go out of this whole program. Okay, so then let's take a look at this script first of all. going on, Shar?
Oh, I guess it's
All right, so here's the script that we have attached. And this uses system collections, generic system, Unity engine, and Unity XR foundation. We actually don't need this UI. That was probably for something that I cut out of his code. Whoops. Anytime you see like a using and it's gray, it means you've called it, but you've never used it. So if you're done with your script and it's still gray up at the top, you can take it out if you want. So we have a required component of ARTracked Image Manager. So if there isn't an image manager in the AR session origin already, this will automatically add one. Then we have a game object array. Right? Anytime you see a game object with an open close brackets, that means it's an array called AR objects to place. We have an AR image manager. We're calling this method, and we're calling that m_tracked image manager. M underscore is a common way of denoting something as a member variable, meaning it's used in this script and shouldn't be used anywhere else. What do they call that? They call it. I told you the other week. It's a certain kind of notation called like Hungarian notation or something. Then we have private dictionary. Okay, so the way this works is you set up a dictionary with the names of the prefabs, and you instantiate all of the objects when you first launch this script, but you turn them all off so that they're invisible. They're all, when you first start it, before you even look at an image, all of your prefabs are sitting at 0, 0, 0, but they're all invisible. And when it sees a tracked image, it pulls the prefab that it's supposed to load out of the dictionary, and then changes the position of it to be where the tracked image is, and then turns it on. That's the way it works. So we first take our image manager and load our ARTracked image manager as a component of that. And then we do a for each, and this is all in the awake. We do a for each. So this is what I said. You have for each game object, AR object, in AR objects to place this array, which we define the size in the inspector. We said we wanted it to have an array size of 2, and we dragged those prefabs into it. So for each of those, it creates a new game object by instantiating that object at vector 3, 0, which means at 0, 0, 0 at the origin, with quaternion.identity, which is basically rotation 0, 0, 0. And then we say new object.name is the AR object.name. So we name it that, and then we add that AR object to the dictionary, populate the dictionary with the new name of the object and its components. So like when we add this object under its name in the dictionary, and we add the object itself to the dictionary. So when you add an object to a dictionary, all of its components are part of that dictionary, including not just its name, but also its location, its rotation, and all of that jazz. So all of that gets put in the dictionary, and then we just have some very simple functions. On enable, on disable, those are both things that are understood. They're events that are understood already. They're part of the member variable. They're part of the methods in this Unity Engine XR AR foundation. It's stuff that you don't have to define this because it's already a method that it understands. So when the image manager is enabled, you say tracked image changed plus equals on tracked image changed. So it runs this void function called on tracked image changed and adds the current image properties to that thing. So plus equals means the the current values that you have in that variable plus whatever, and so it's like saying if you said A plus equals C, you're basically saying A equals A plus C. Does that make sense? Okay. On disable, subtract that from the on image changed variables. Okay, then we actually have to have an on image changed void. You could have named this anything. You could have said hot dog here as long as you had a void hot dog down here, right? So on tracked image change, do we need some arguments? That's the word I was trying to say the other. So this adds or subtracts from the values in this arguments. ARTracked image changed event arguments, and we give that a variable called Eventargs. Okay, and then for each ARTracked image in Eventargs.added, meaning it pulls the arguments from ARTracked image changed event args, which is part of the ARTracked image manager, right? And those event arguments, we've given a variable called Eventargs. And so then we can just, from then on, we can reference just Eventargs instead of having to type out this whole thing every single time. So we say for each ARTracked image, tracked image in Eventargs.added, meaning it's now seen something new that it hasn't seen before. Then run this update AR image method with the argument tracked image, and for each tracked image in for another for image, let's see, is this the same thing? No. Oh yeah, this is Eventargs.added, Eventargs.updated, and Eventargs.removed. So if it's either added to the image, added a new tracked image because it just saw something new, or it's updated, meaning that image has moved, then it will run this update AR image method that we define down here, right here. If it has been removed, meaning it stops seeing that image, then whatever that image, whatever that object is, that is indexed under that tracked image name. So if it's the picture of Trump, it's the object named Trump. Then set the active to false, meaning make it go away, make it disappear. So make each object inactive and invisible. Then we run this for every time we see a tracked image or the tracked image moved. We assign the game object as the tracked image reference name, so that means it'll call up out of the dictionary, it'll call up the object that is associated with that tracked image. It's working? Yes. And it will set the tracked image transform position, meaning it will move that image with the object, and then also set the tracked image transform rotation, so that if the tracked image rotates like this, the object rotates as well. That was something that in the example he didn't have, and everything was stuck in this orientation no matter what. Even if you moved your laptop monitor like this, it would still be pointing straight up. So I added this rotation so that when you move this, the rocket moves along with it. We have to define this assign game object method, and this has three arguments: the name, the position, which we're defining as a vector3 new position, and the rotation of it. So as long as the AR object to place is not null, meaning you have something in the array, it's not a null array with 0, then go ahead and do this. Create a new object called GoARObject. I could have called that banana if I wanted to. And say AR objects. This is calling the particular object out of the array of objects, just like you had in your project, right? So you have an array, and this is the same array that we defined up at the top, and you have an index number that defines what position in that array. And this name, I believe, will equate to a index number in the array. Then if there's an object to place, then go ahead and pull up the object based on the name. Set the active to true, changes position to the new position, changes rotation to the new rotation. And then he had some stuff for scale factor. I took that out because I figured, you can just scale your prefabs to something that makes sense instead of having to scale them with a scale factor. And then for each game object in Go in ARObject.values, Go name, let's see, what does this mean? If Go name does not equal name, then set active false. Oh, meaning it pulls a name. When it sees Trump, it pulls the name Trump. And if you had a rocket here and now you're looking at Trump, it will go through all of the objects and say, is this object named Trump? If it's not, then it turns it off. So this will make it only display one object at a time. It'd be interesting to disable this function and see if we can have more than one object on the screen. I have a feeling, though, what might happen, though, is you could have multiple objects on the screen, but if you lost this Apollo marker, the object would still be on your screen. So the problem would be, like, if you're using this in a gallery setting where you're looking at one painting and then you're looking at another painting, you need that first painting to go away when it goes off the screen. Otherwise, it might follow your device along with you and still be in the corner over here. I think that was the thinking behind this setting active false and only displaying one tracked image at a time. I haven't done a lot of testing on this, though, so I'd like to try that out at some point. Okay, we have 4 minutes. There was one other... Stop. I do not want to watch that video right now. There's one other script. I didn't put it... let me just upload it. We don't have time to write it in person. I was going to have us write it in person, but let me just upload it to the class website. I guess I have to put it in Drive.
Really my nightmare.
Okay, so it's under Documents, Image Tracking, Assets, Scripts, and let me put this in here. And let me change. Oh, I guess it automatically shares because the whole directory is shared.
Yeah, we have this script.
Oh, sorry. No, this. Oh, sorry. This is the wrong script. Sorry. There's a different one. Remove. Where did it not save? I might have accidentally deleted it. Oh, I know where it is. It's in my prep. Hold on. I just pulled the wrong thing. That's all. Documents, image tracking, prep, scripts, assets, scripts. There it is. Simple image script. Let me put this in week 7. Yeah, go ahead and download this real quick. We have 2 minutes to look at it, but it's a lot more simple than the previous one. It's in week 7 now, and it's called simpleimagescript.cs. Guess I have to resize this thing. Okay, go ahead and open that up. Whatever, I'll do it later. If you just open the directory, even if the thing is too small to see the simple image script, if you open up the directory on the week 7 thing, you'll find it. All right, so you can drag that into your AR, into your Unity scripts folder. Why are you on a different page? Ugh. Leave me alone, Siri. I wasn't talking to you. There we go. So drag this into here, and then go ahead and open that up. Okay. So here is a way that you can just run any kind of code when you see a particular tracking image under a certain name. So it has a lot of the same features of that more complicated script. Has the ARTracked image manager. I believe this one just says underscore instead of M underscore, but like you can name it whatever you want. Make sure that you have an AR image manager loaded. Find object of type. And then it runs this onImage changed plus equals and the onImage changed minus equals. That's the same as in the other script. And it just does one thing where when it sees when it says args.added, meaning it sees the new image, if the name is Trump, then do something. So if you wanted it to play a video, you could. If you wanted it to play a sound, you could run the thing for that. And that you can put anything you want there. And so then like if it sees Trump, it'll run whatever script that is. Okay? So you could even have it instantiate an object on the Apollo script, and then looking at the Trump makes that object spin around or something. You know? Okay, let's look at the homework real quick. Okay, so for next week, you still need to do last week's homework if you didn't do it. So please do that, and please get your darkness monster working. I think lighting is really important for being able to create a believable virtual element. But for next week, just create a unique and meaningful tracked image experience and deploy it to your device. Animate the object with an original script, meaning just something we haven't done in class. You can still find examples on the internet, whatever, as long as you understand, you be prepared to explain how that script makes your object move in class. So I don't want you just pulling a script and not knowing how it works. So make sure you know what the script is and how it works, and then document it on your blog. And then also, I want you guys to go ahead and submit your preliminary final project proposal. So tell me what you plan on doing for your final project. All right? When is your final project due? On week 12, week 13, I think we're going to meet at some point. We need to talk about meeting outside of class. Our class is only 12 weeks long because like the last day of class is like the Monday of week 13. The last day of DMP classes, which is technically one. And plus we lose a week because of Thanksgiving being on Thursday. So let's see, class schedule. I believe so. 12/5. It's the week. I think if we can find a time outside of class on the week after 12/5. What is that? The 12th. So if you guys can meet sometime on December 12th, we can present then, or we can present anytime that week. I'm pretty open. I'd like to give you guys an extra week so that we can actually use that last class as a class, and it'll give you an extra week to do your final project. But anyway, next week, make sure you do this, have a meaningful tracked experience, and animate it with an original script and all that jazz, and then also submit your idea for your final project proposal, which the main requirement for that is that I approve it. I approve 90% of these. And even the ones that I don't approve, I usually will still be able to come to an agreement about how we can make this work. I might say, that sounds great, but you might want to do this too, or that sounds like you probably won't be able to do it, so let's adjust it slightly and do this, let's limit the scope of it slightly or something like that. But the main thing is you have to use Unity and AR Foundation. I don't want you using Vuforia. You have to use Unity. You can't just turn in an app written in Unreal all of a sudden. Your project has to be original. I don't want you to just use something from somebody's tutorial that looks exactly like what you saw on YouTube, right? You must have a research component and include elements that we haven't gone over in class. I want you guys to research how to do things for yourself, right? So something, it doesn't have to be everything, but something in your project has to be something that we haven't gone over in class, right? And then it must be challenging. I don't think that's going to be hard. I think anything we do is going to be challenging. So submit your preliminary ideas next week, and then I'll get back to you on email about my thoughts on that. And like 90% of them are perfectly fine. All right, cool. See you next week.